yeah, as the previous speaker, as Peter, I also did this study with Dr. Marielle Lestel and Dr. Stephen Watson, and my supervisor, Professor Dr. Alexander Boden, and also from the University of Twente. I did my studies on how do consumers determine the veracity of online user reviews. And in the next few minutes, I will talk about first fake reviews and then describe which study we did. So the research question methodology results in a short discussion. So let's first talk about fake reviews. We all know that fake reviews are being used by companies to praise their own products or diminish the concurrence. And platforms like Amazon or social media like Facebook or Twitter are not, like, they try to delete fake reviews as soon as they pop up. But of course, they are not up to date with all research and all the possibilities. And that is also why there are guidelines online on different platforms, different newspapers, different blogs bring guidelines out on how to spot those fake reviews on, for example, Amazon. But most of them are not built on research. But what or where does research actually stand? So research on fake review detection almost lies completely the focus within automated identification of fake reviews. However, we all know in automated detection, there are also, as in human detection, fake false positives and false negatives. And that is why consumers need to be able to detect fake reviews themselves also, because there are still fake reviews left online. And for that to happen efficiently and effectively, experts like you and me, for example, need to educate them. But for the education to keep hold and to be efficient, we need to understand the process of human fake review detection first, because otherwise interventions are not being successful. And to gain an overview over the state of the art, we did a literature review. And the code on the screen will lead you to that literature review because I don't have the time to talk about it in detail here. But we found that only little research actually has been done in the human fake review detection. And most of that research has been top down, limiting the insights on the whole decision-making process. And that is why we did this study to gain more insights into the fake review detection process of consumers. For that, we asked the research question, how do consumers perceive the veracity of online reviews? Which factors do they use to identify reviews within the context of the whole process of online shopping? And because most earlier research limited itself by top-down approaches and controlled lab conditions, we wanted to gather real-life data. For that, we used the grounded theory approach, where we held interviews with 25 online shoppers. Those interviews were scene-structured and in-depth. And the interviewees were from Germany and the Netherlands. And the questions focused on how purchase decisions are made and whether interviewees consider the veracity of online consumer reviews. So our results were manifold. First, of course, we found that reviews are used to gather information and social feedback. Consumers do this to test assumptions about the product that they have and compare different perspectives by comparing different reviews, professional and unprofessional ones. Second, we found that there are two decisions being made in the shopping process. First, the product type, and then the product decision. So the product type basically is, do I need a broom or do I need a rover? And as soon as you know if you need a broom or a rover for the purpose that you intend to do, so for cleaning up, for example, then you have to make a purchase decision. On the one hand, okay, do I want the rover to be an automatic, like a robot, or do I want to have a hand rover? And on the other hand, also, of course, do I want one from Philips or do I want one from Siemens? So that's the purchase decision, basically. And then the third result is, of course, our theoretical model, because we did a grounded theory approach. So it all starts with the incentive to buy, of course. And then there's one big step where the value and the knowledge about the product has a big influence of how much research is being done. So the higher the value is, the more research is being done, but also when the knowledge is high, a little bit less research is being done, because you already have a lot of information and you don't have to search about information about the product, but more about the specific product. And with research, we here mean professional and unprofessional reviews, which include tests, blogs, YouTube, but of course, also consumer reviews on, for example, Amazon. And during the research process, with each review, there is a judgment. So first, and this is one something that I want you to pay close attention, because I will have a question about this to you afterwards. So the judgment is first being done on the relevance. So is this review relevant for me? Yes or no? And if it's deemed relevant, then a second judgment is being done, where the usefulness, trustworthiness, credibility, and veracity are determined. And these are determined by cues. I will not elaborate on all of them, but the four main cues that we found is the website where the review is being shown, the reviewer, so is there any information about the reviewer, then the review quality, so is it a high quality or low quality, and then the phrasing, the credibility of the phrasing. And all of these cues are used every time with every review to judge on the relevance, usefulness, trustworthiness, credibility, and veracity. And that together will then lead to a purchase decision. So that's the theoretical model. And while there was earlier research that have mostly concentrated on cognitive approaches for human review detection and used isolated tasks to test hypotheses, we aim to monitor, of course, the reality. And while we do find similarities between earlier research and our results, we also see similarities to deception research, because that is what we basically did. For example, in the judgment phase, we see that interviewees try to verify the information being claimed by reviewers by, for example, trying to compare reviews with each other. However, since we do not want to miss anything and we're still a working process and the manuscript is being written as we speak, I would like to ask you, because you're all experts in deception, if there is any theory in deception research that is similar to what I have just presented, and I would be grateful for any suggestions and feedback on the topic. Thank you so much for your attention.